But it's not good enough to be number one on this list, because at number one for me is the LSU Tigers. LSU has a top 5 quarterback in America, in my opinion, and Garrett Nussmeier, a legitimate Heisman candidate as well. He had the 5th most passing yards in the country last year with over 4,000, and also tied for 7th with 26 big-time throws. LSU also brought in Michael Van Buren Jr. from Mississippi State, who actually had to start for the Bulldogs last year as a true freshman. And Dalton, he started 8 games in his true freshman year. His first 2 starts in his career were on the road against 2 elite defenses in Texas and Georgia. And what he did in those 2 games, he had a 79 passing grade, 5 big-time throws, no turnover-worthy plays against Texas and Georgia on the road in your first 2 career starts as well. So Michael Van Buren Jr. was impressive last year as a true freshman for Mississippi State. Now he's the backup at LSU as a true sophomore, most likely going to be the starting quarterback for LSU after Garrett Nussmeier goes on to the NFL draft too. So a really good backup of Michael Van Buren Jr. And you have a couple of former 4-star recruits as well in true sophomore Juwan Johnson, who actually played running back for LSU last year. Now he's back to playing quarterback like he did in high school. And redshirt freshman Colin Hurley as well, was a former star coming out of high school and is thankfully recovered from the serious car crash that he had last year. But LSU having a superstar in Garrett Nussmeier, Michael Van Buren Jr., who was really intriguing last year as a starter, as a true freshman at Mississippi State, and a couple former 4-stars too, in Juwan Johnson and Colin Hurley.
Yeah, Nussmeier, you start with Nussmeier. He's one of the best quarterbacks in the country, right? And he took the patient route of sitting behind Jaden Daniels for a couple of years and getting a little bit of mop-up reps and late in game and starting bowl games and things like that. But Nussmeier, I agree, is a top 5 quarterback in the country, and to have that guy as your base is certainly a good thing to have. And then you mentioned it, Van Buren's the interesting guy here, because last year he was supposed to sit under Jeff Lebby at Mississippi State, right behind Blake Shapen. Shapen gets hurt in the Florida game, and now he's going back to Mississippi State for another year, and LSU ends up with Van Buren possibly as their future. And you're right, you look at the starts, the 8 starts plus that action against Florida that he had when he first had to come in when Shapen suffered the injury, really all pretty good work considering Mississippi State was one of the worst teams in the country. And aside from the Tennessee game, that was really the only one where he laid an egg, but that was an elite defense you're playing in Tennessee, and Mississippi State just not equipped really as a team to beat any of these other teams in the SEC last year. But he still came out and played reasonably well considering the circumstances, right? So I think to have that guy both in the present with now 8 starts of SEC experience under his belt, you mentioned it, those 2 games against Texas and Georgia, how about 5 big-time throws and no turnover-worthy plays? Yep. That's what you're looking for out of a young kid in a big spot when their team is clearly overmatched by those other teams. Not too bad. They didn't play, I know it sounds weird, but they didn't play all that bad against Texas. Arch Manning was starting. There was a lot of hype around Tech. They didn't play all that bad offensively against Florida. So I think getting Van Buren even though he's really young, he's got the experience now. He's been through the SEC gauntlet. If you had to go to somebody, if something happened to Nussmeier, not a bad place to go, especially with a young kid that might be your future.
Absolutely. Yeah, so LSU checking in as my number 1 quarterback room in the country. Just kind of recap the top 10. Honorable mention was Texas, number 10, Ohio State, number 9, Alabama, number 8, Auburn, number 7, Penn State, number 6, Miami, number 5, Clemson, number 4, Florida, number 3, Arizona State, number 2, SMU, and number 1, LSU. Hey, thanks for watching another episode of the PFF College Football Show. Please make sure you guys subscribe to the channel.
Also, subscribe to PFF Plus at subscribe.pff.com for all of the same data and grades that we use in our show, plus fantasy tools, betting tools, and our mock draft simulator.